think back to high school for a moment. Ignoring those awkward school dances and promposals I never got, we all had that one English teacher that wasn't excited to be in the classroom. I would bet that that's because a lot of English teachers have to teach the same books over and over again with very little say as to what those books actually are. And I would also be willing to bet that a lot of us kind of hated English class because of John Steinbeck, you can thank him for Of Mice and Men, and Shakespeare, following us around our entire high school careers. But what if I told you that we could help to alleviate some of this miserable scene, to make the classroom experience a little less stale? Well, it all comes down to this. K-12 English teachers should have more academic freedom in the classroom so that both students and teachers can have more relevant contemporary material in their curricula. So today, I'm going to tell you the tale of the hero, academic freedom, by going through the chapters of what academic freedom is and why it's detrimental when limited, how more academic freedom can solve these issues, and what you can do to help achieve more academic freedom. Now, let's hit the books. First chapter. What is academic freedom, and why is it harmful to limit it? Well, according to Rousseau, in a 2012 article in School Law, the definition of academic freedom is that it is the embodiment of the principle that individual instructors are at liberty to teach that which they deem to be appropriate in the exercise of their professional judgment. But what if we don't have that academic freedom? What problems are caused by that? Well, it goes against the First Amendment right. Once a teacher walks into the classroom, their right to free speech is limited by the rules that their district puts in place. And a lot of this comes in the form of what books they can and cannot teach. Many of these banned books deemed inappropriate for classroom use, discuss controversial, yes, but necessary topics to functioning in society. If our students aren't introduced to these topics, they leave our classrooms much less informed. Then there's the issue that state and district officials are often biased towards their own state's political beliefs. And these are the people creating our curricula. So going back to Rousseau for a moment, one only needs to look to the May 2010 revisions in social studies curricula in Texas to find an example of politicization of social studies curriculum by including materials that, for example, stress the role of capitalism while questioning whether the founding fathers were dedicated to an entirely secular government. This slants social studies curricula, distorts historical instruction, and was approved by a straight party line vote. So those were theoretically, those were not approved by historians, sociologists, or economists. Those most theoretically inclined to provide nonpartisan, accurate viewpoints for the creation of social studies curricula. So now that we understand the issues with limiting academic freedom, let's turn the page and move on to the positives of more academic freedom. First, we can have more well-educated students that can have difficult and civil discussions. According to Katrina in her 2008 Battleground, the goal of the education system in the United States is to prepare students to become informed citizens. But we can't be informed citizens if we aren't aware of varying viewpoints, not just the one that our state puts in front of us. So back to Rousseau for a moment. Most classroom educators tend to teach from academic rather than politically based approaches. And this is not what legislatures and state boards of education tend to do, as they often impose their own political and social agendas on public school curriculum. So for example, in South Carolina, if you didn't know, it would be more conservative. But if teachers were allowed to bring in more academic sources with varying viewpoints, we would have more educated students that can decide what they believe for themselves. And then there's the issue of banned books, which often discuss topics relevant to students, such as racial discrimination, poverty, abuse, and so on. Many teachers want to be able to have these discussions in their classrooms so that their students can not only understand and cope with these issues, but hopefully they can go on to make a difference. And many teachers are still fighting for the right to do this. According to Nicolini in her 2015 article in the English Journal, the reality is that young adults live in and read about a decidedly complex world where sex, violence, intolerance, and profanity are a reality. And one example of this kind of enlightening banned book I got from Gomez's 2018 article in Banned Book Spotlight. And that is The Hate U Give, which was banned for its racial themes and profanity, but is an excellent book for students to read as it tackles issues relatable to minority students and young women. Thus, giving teachers the freedom to bring these books in would really help us achieve the goal of the education system that I touched on earlier, creating informed citizens. And now I know, this seems like an overly simplistic solution to a hot-button issue in public education. And I'm not trying to ignore the issues that would go with increasing academic freedom. It would be difficult to standardize, and it would lead to controversial topics entering the classroom. However, just like any other public school initiative, the kinks would get worked out if we give them a chance to be. And ultimately, the system needs a change. We're leaving behind certain groups of students and not preparing them for life outside of the classroom. So now we've reached the conclusion of our table. How can we use our freedom to vote, speak, and act to increase academic freedom? First, support Ban Books Week. According to Lane in her 2015 article in Book Banning and Other Forms of Censorship, every September since 1982, U.S. libraries and bookstores have been celebrating Ban Books Week. They promote the right to read freely. Banning books eliminates amazing works from the classroom where they can be useful and engaging for students, such as The Hate U Give and even To Kill a Mockingbird at one point. Our students have to deal with these issues when they leave our classroom, so we might as well introduce them in a safe school environment, and Ban Books Week promotes the right to do this. Second, vote no to bills that remove academic freedom and yes to bills that give it. According to Jones in her 2019 article for the New York Magazine, there is a bill in Arizona that, if passed, could fire teachers for the use of political or religious language in their classroom. However, this could be easily misconstrued if a teacher brought in an article or a piece of literature that used that political or religious language. So in South Carolina, there are none currently contended, but there have been in the past, like H.3.3.4.5. So just stay informed in your state before you go to the polls, especially on your education bills. So today, I have told you the tale of the hero, academic freedom, and why K-12 English teachers should have more of it in their classrooms. By going through the chapters of what academic freedom is and why it's detrimental and limited, how more academic freedom can solve these issues, and what you can do to help achieve more academic freedom. As someone who wants to teach high school English in inner city communities and has read many of these banned books, I cannot stress the importance of academic freedom enough. I want my students to leave my classroom well-educated and well-rounded so they can go on to create a more just world. So support Ban Books Week, please, and vote no to bills that remove academic freedom, and yes to bills that give it. And to my future and current teachers, keep fighting. Teachers like you make a difference. I know, I had one in my own high school. So now I will end with a quote by one of my very favorite authors, Ralph Waldo Emerson. "Every burned book enlightens the world." Thank you.